The question is, would you rather be a traitor or a faithful?
Traitor, so I could murder you.
Well, we're not playing it together. That would be we should enter together. We'd be like those sisters that were just on that, the one that's on now.
Yeah, we'd end up not being mates after.
Yeah.
Traitor, because it's you are in control of the game. If you're faithful, like you actually, it's hard because you're just always defending yourself. With a traitor, you're in control.
Yeah, you've still got to defend yourself when they start coming for you. Because trust me, you give traitor energy. They would sniff you out day one. You'd open your mouth, they'd be like, he's a traitor.
Yeah, but I would know how to murder the right people to send them other ways. I'd murder randomly.
Let me tell you that. I'd be sitting on the train on the way over there, having a conversation with you, going, the producers will pick him to be a traitor. See, I'd be playing the game from like a producer's viewpoint, like who would be a good traitor.
Yeah, but that's where you go wrong because you think you know more than you actually do, and you never produced anything decent in your life.
Oh, apart from a TV show sizzle that got signed by BBC Studios Productions. Thank you.
Didn't get signed.
Well, it got signed by BBC Studios.
No, it got seen by BBC.
No, it got signed by them. It didn't get commissioned, sweetheart. See, you were never that interested in it. You know, you didn't have any.
I was the only one that was interested in
it. I would love my journey to be a faithful to begin with, to really solidify myself and not get all weird and start having to act, then be recruited as a traitor.
Recruiters always.
No, they don't. What about that one? What season was it where they got recruited to be a traitor? Then they took out the other traitors, blindsided them, and then they won. Maybe it was an American one or an Australian one.
No, but normally the people that get recruited normally get chopped. And they normally go out and they go, I was faithful and now I got recruited, but he's the traitor. And they snitch you up at the last minute.
I think the producers tell them, don't
Well,
do
he
that.
did that time. Remember?
Yeah,
he told that guy.
one?
Yeah, he told that guy and he was like begging it. I'm not.
Yeah,
that was season one.
Yeah. No, I think that's the best way because I would worry. Get away from the microphone, you. I would worry that I would get weird and start acting like I'd be like Linda, where Claudia's like traitors, and I'd like look at Claudia.
You'd have to just go right, faithful, and just really forget that you are anything to do with it, and just really hone into that.
Because in the audition process, I reckon they say, "Would you want to be a traitor?"
I think everyone wants to be a traitor.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I think in my younger days, I'd want to be a traitor, but now I would find it very difficult to be a traitor. Like, lying is just so much harder when you're older. Like, you just don't have the energy to keep it up. You know what I mean?
Linda's doing a great job. She's 70.
She's
got 30 years. She's useless.
Useless.
I don't know how she's lasted so long. Queen Mina.
She's brilliant.
Killing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're young, fresh. You just meet the right people. You can do it. As you get older, you just don't have the energy for it. And even that priest, she was like, hey, I'm out.
What? I don't get why she was trying to hide that she was not ordained priest the whole time. Like, what difference would that make?
I think they all try and hide it. One of them's hiding it. They're well. No. What a terrible.
She still got suspected as being a traitor.
What a terrible thing. Like, I'm
Welsh are trustworthy, she said.
God, get out of it.
No, I'd want to go in as a faithful, be recruited as a traitor, and then I would take out the other traitors and leave with all the money.
You wouldn't be able to do that. You'd be so worried about what everyone thought of you.
Yeah.
You'd split the money with the whole cast.
Yeah. Literally, I'd win the game and then I would get the faithfuls off camera. I'd be, guys, I feel really bad. Do you just want to share the money?
Yeah,
that's so
it's
me.
£10 each. Do you all feel better now? No.
No, but you couldn't be. You'd have to be faithful. But I think you'd get voted out either way.
I'd be a double bluff.
In what way?
I'd be a double bluff. I wouldn't be myself. I wouldn't be loud, and I'd become really good friends with everyone, and just be that person that they could all trust on.
Well,
I'd also use my kids.
You are very convincing. You are. You can. You know, I've said this 1,000 times as a podcast. Like, you can sell salt to a slug. Like, you would be able to convince people, I think, that you were not who you were.
And I would just murder the right people. Like, that's where I wouldn't go wrong.
Right. You've got a strategic mind.
Yeah, I would murder the right people. Just send them completely off the scent.
Because I would know if we went in. I would know if you were a traitor or you were faithful like that.
I'd tell you. I'd say shut
up. You'd be like, don't tell anyone, but I'll split the money with you.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll keep you to the end. That would be my tactic.
Yeah.
I'm a traitor, but tell everyone, not just go out one by one. I'll split the money.
Yeah. We'd make the agreement before we went in the game. Fuck it, let's do it. Third TV show together. Why not?
Well, we've got to win one of them.
Yeah.
Well, you've lost them all.
Just for context, Louis and I have been on 2 TV game shows together, and I have lost it for Louis both times.
Yeah. The second time was horrendous because
it was like 35 grand each,
and I knew the answer.
Yeah.
You was like, no, I really think it's the Dark Knight with no evidence. And I listened to you.
I know.
And then they were like, no. I was like,
I really needed that money at the time as well. We've got to do a third show.
Let me tell you now, I seen a side to you that time when we were on the way home that I'd never seen before.
What, silent?
Yeah, no. When you had lost that money, your emotions were all over the shop because one, you convinced yourself that we were going to win the money and that was going to solve all your problems. 2, then you'd let me down because you
I'd lost you 35 grand.
So you kept saying over and over and again, why did you listen to me? Why? Why did you listen to me? Why? Why did you listen to me?
I mean, to be honest, you said to me, the reason why I listened to you is because I knew how much you needed that money and I didn't need it as much. So if I did get the question wrong and lost you that money,
it'd have been horrendous.
He was like, I'd rather you have lost the money for us than me lost the money
and
for us.
And do you know what? It's like you think it, but when you're there, there's so many things after you go, I just knew it was that. Why didn't I?
Yeah.
Like one guy in the audience went, I know the answer. And he was like 100 years old. And I was like, well, he's not going to know it's the Dark Knight. Right. And all that made sense in the end. But all I did was listen to your bloody gob. And lost us money.
I know. Don't trust me again.
Never.
All right. Anyway, life catch up. Anything? Because you've been abandoning us for the last month. So is there anything you want to share?
Well, went on holiday, didn't I? You know, some of us got the luxury of being able to go on holiday. And some of us sat here telling us their life story. But, you know.
Well, do you know what? I must say there were 2 very popular episodes. So, you know, you're on thin ice.
That's because you watched them about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Worried about what people thought of me.
Yeah, worried about what they look like. 10,000 views, just you keep replaying it.
Overthinking it. That is not too far from the truth.
Yeah,
all right, well, let's crack on then. If you've got nothing important to tell us, because your life's fucking boring. Right, I'm going to read the questions today.
Oh, hang about, you've got a dog.
Oh yeah, got a dog. Which actually, guys, I must say, Louis is a good friend. I don't want to say this in front of him because it's really embarrassing. Because I don't like giving him compliments. But Louis literally drove me at 5:30 a.m. 3 hours to the north of the country to pick up Pepe at 5:30 in the morning. Did I say 5:30 in the morning twice? Okay, he did it. 3 hours, 5:30 in the morning to pick up Pepe, and then drove literally 10 minutes straight back, all the way back. So you're a good friend for that.
I know I am.
Well, you're not so much of a good friend that you actually bought the dog for me. Like I've asked for literally the last 5 years, but I suppose I can.
No, but I'm a good enough friend that I gave you every bank card that I knew for you to draw the cash out that you should have drew out before we got there. Literally drawing out £100 on every card I ever owned.
I wouldn't have changed it for the world. All right, so that's all I've got to report.
Yeah.
So let's go into question 1.
Let's go.
So, how the fuck do you motivate yourself? Like, actually move your ass off your bed. This guy feels angry. He feels frustrated.
Yeah. Well, motivation is a tough one because it's, you know, it comes and goes. Sometimes I get up at 5 a.m. and I'm ready to go. I'm sliding down a banister and I'm getting my kit on. I'm going to the gym and I'm ready. And then Friday I got up at 9:30, you know, and I was just like, what happened there? It just does. So you're not always going to be motivated. But here's one thing I do is you've got to really visualize what you want to become and what you want. And you've got to really dig into your life now and see what is not working and what you really don't like. And then there's certain boxes that you have to tick. And then what you realize is the only barrier for you not to improve in your life is yourself. Because you've got this life here that you're not happy with. And then you've got this life here that you've designed that, would be amazing for you. You've got the process that you need to do it. And the only thing standing in that way is you getting off your ass and doing it. So you're the one to blame for your whole situation. Most of the time, if it's to do with getting to the gym, eating healthy and all them things, you just got to break down that barrier.
But I think that part of the problem is that process that you talk about and that other life. I don't think people are really sure about what that is. So if you have vague goals, you're going to get vague results, right? Because you don't know maybe what the process is, or you don't really believe in what it is on the other end of that process, right? So the purpose sort of doesn't give you much life. I think that first and foremost, stop romanticizing motivation. Just stop romanticizing it. It's not a feeling. It's a byproduct of action. And it perpetuates itself, but you have to just fucking force yourself to take action, and eventually the motivation will come and then it will perpetuate itself. But you waiting for the motivation to come, you can be waiting forever.
I think also it's you have to start small and build it up. Now, this is quite a difficult one to do because we always want to rush into things and kind of get it done as soon as possible. But if you say you're going to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you get up at 5 a.m. that day, all of a sudden there's power in the words that you said you was going to do. So you had that little reward of I said I was going to do that and I did it. Mm-hmm. Wow. Now let me try and not eat sugar for the day. Oh, I said it and I did it. Now let me try and do it for a week. Oh, I said it and I did it. Now all of a sudden you go, okay, if I say something, if I tell myself that I can do it and I do it, I'm now getting this little reward of you're building your confidence. In the beginning, some people can feel like they don't have that confidence yet. They don't even know that, getting up, can I get up at 5 a.m.? Can I do this? Can I do it? So they don't actually believe in some of the stuff that they're setting themselves. So it's them small steps. I can only get up really early in the morning because I know I can get up early in the morning. I know if I go gym for 6 weeks and I eat healthy, my body will change. So sometimes you've got to do the action to see the result, because then you start to you start to get better at that. You start to understand there's a process to everything and there's an end result to that process.
So you think that people need to prove their capabilities, right? As you said, build the confidence that you're capable of doing what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, 100%. It's like weight loss. People probably give up on their weight loss journey because they feel like they can't lose weight.
Yeah.
And because they've eaten healthy for 7 days and gone, oh, I've not lost weight, it doesn't work, give up. So actually, you got to realize it probably takes about 6 weeks before you can start to really see the big benefits of how much weight, the big results.
Do you think that we sometimes get paralyzed by a goal that's too far away? So actually, as you just said then, if the results are instantaneous, we put a lot of work in for just a very short period of time. We don't get the outcome that we thought we would in that period of time. And then, it's just out the window.
Yeah, I don't think that's being paralyzed. I think that's being being disheartened. But actually, you don't understand that these things take time. If you set... You can set, the first thing about setting a goal is make sure it's realistic. If you want to become super successful and you want to do that in 6 months, it's probably unrealistic. You've got to be real with yourself and say, okay, is this goal realistic? But if you go, I want to be successful and I'm going to give myself 3 years to get there, you've probably got enough time to try a few different things to get you there. Do you understand what I mean? And you've given yourself enough time to learn skills, understand what you really want to be successful in, and you've given yourself a horizon of things that you can kind of try, not do well at, do well at. But if you do it so short, like with anything, there's just not enough time to see results.
Mm.
So therefore, you know, if you lower your expectations of what you want to achieve and you spread it out a little bit longer, you won't be so disheartened.
Do you think there's also like a fear of failure wrapped up in motivation as well? Like it's more of like an avoidance and a procrastination so much more so than it is sort of a lack of motivation.
Well, I think you've got to be, if you're afraid to fail,
Yeah.
it's going to stop you from achieving things because you have to fail. Just look at the gym. You have to push your body to failure every single time, every single set to achieve the best results. Some people argue that, but essentially that's how it works. But with business, with success, with all these things, most entrepreneurs, most really successful people have faced a few failures. I don't know many that have just done it in one go. So it's like you've got to fail. So you have, that fear of failure will paralyze you because actually you're going to fail. You are going to fail. You need to accept that. And when you do fail, you need to just get back up. But that ability to get back up is what's going to stop you. You might set, I listened to a podcast on the way here and it was about habits. And it was like, set 6 habits, to do for 3 weeks, for example. What you might find is you do 4 of them habits really well and 2 of them lag behind. And that is okay. That's not failure. That is you setting a expectation and kind of being good at it. Then after them 3 weeks, then 4 habits that you did regularly, see how long they last, and then add them 2 in. If you say to yourself, I need to do 6 habits, and then day 2, you can't fulfill that 6 habits, you're going to give up. But if you give yourself a little bit of a buffer, say, right, here's 6 habits I want to do. I'm going to always make sure I can get 3, but 6 is the goal. You've got this little bit of a buffer to kind of like cushion you from that failure. But sometimes we set our expectations so high that this year I'm going to quit alcohol, for example. And then January 10th, someone's birthday and someone hands you a glass of champagne and you take a sip. And you go, well, this year's failed. I'll try again next year. And it's like, well, we've got 12 months till next year. So, well, actually, why not just go, okay, I did great. I did 10 days. Let me just try and do another 20, 30 days after this.
What you're saying there reminds me of the sort of new year, new me trope, right? Which I am fully behind. However, I think that people try and be an entirely new person on the 1st of January, completely forgetting that literally 24 hours before they were a different person. You are not going to completely recondition your mind overnight. It takes time, right? So you can intend to be a different version of yourself that year, but that is going to take like a long time to sort of recondition. And I think that quite often we quiet.
No, Pepe.
Quite often we try and change too much of ourselves too quickly. The goal is huge and we try and execute it all at once. Whereas what you're kind of saying is like really scale right down. Like what is the smallest habit that you can start towards that new version of yourself?
Here's what I would do and here's what I do. I set goals. Now, goals can be achieved normally throughout the year. So it's probably good. I don't think any of my goals can be really done before 6 months, for example. So we're looking at 6 months a year to achieve my top 3 goals in every area I have: finance, life, business, whatever. I then look at what are the barriers to stop me to getting there. So let's use weight loss, for example. I would like to lose 6 kg this year and maintain that for the rest of the year. Now, what are the barriers that are going to stop me? Well, one barrier might be like, I like to eat out. One barrier might be, I can't stop having sugar. One barrier might be, I love to drink alcohol too much. So I've got what I want to achieve. I've got the barriers that could stop me. Now I need to create habits that would help me get over them barriers. Them habits I'm going to mess up on sometimes. They are things that can happen some days and not happen other days. Not having sugar. Okay, I'm going to try and eat a healthy snack instead. I might do that Monday to Saturday, and Sunday I might mess up and have an ice cream. Okay, but then Monday I'll try and do again. As long as I'm doing them habits for 80% of the year and the 20% I'm got a little bit of mess up time, I'm going to achieve my goals. Them goals obviously have to be realistic. So I need to make sure that, I have a game plan that will get me there. But as long as you've got habits to try and get over the barriers, you will get to them goals. Them goals can take, you might have a goal of, I want to give up alcohol this year. If you say to yourself, I want to give up alcohol, but New Year's Eve you was drinking your head off and now I'm giving up alcohol next day. It's like, well, that's going to be quite tough because in a month's time, someone's going to invite you out. If you give yourself a year to go, you know what? I'm going to try and have like 2 drinks this week. I'm going to try. By the end of the year, you probably would have given up alcohol.
Yeah. So losing the all or nothing mindset, being okay with there being bumps in the road.
Yeah. New Year's resolutions, I just don't believe in. I just think set goals, set barriers and set tasks to overcome them barriers and give yourself enough time to do it.
Well, that goes back to the vague goals, bring vague sort of results and actions, right? Because you're just not being clear enough. And so, a New Year's resolution might be just so vague that actually you're setting yourself up for failure already.
And everyone has motivation. Here's one thing that people don't understand. You have motivation and you have discipline. Unless you are the kind of person that, is 50 years old, you still live at home and you'd have no job because you don't want a job and you just sit there playing computer games, then that's the life you want, fair enough. But if you're someone that goes, I really struggle with motivation, but you get up every day and go to work, you don't ring in sick all the time, you have a good career, you're never late, for example, that's motivation. That is discipline. You're ticking boxes. The only reason you do go to work every single day is because you have to. Because if you don't go to work, you get sacked and you can't pay your rent. So therefore, what you've done is you've created this goal that I need to get to work because I need X, Y, and Z. And I need to get up at this time in the morning. You need to apply that same thing with your fitness, with your business, with everything, where it's like, I don't have a choice but to get these goals done. And if you set these goals and you've got these habits, like, okay, I've messed up today, I was late today, but tomorrow I'm going to be better. Tomorrow I'm going to be better. Then that thing about being motivated every day, it's gone. All it is now is ticking boxes. And you try and tick them boxes more days than unticking them, you're always going to be okay.
Yeah.
Always going to be okay.
Okay, so this person said, how the fuck do you motivate? Like, actually move your ass off your bed. That says to me, this is somebody who can't get up when their alarm clock goes off. So, I mean, I think the first thing that you need to do, and repeat this over and over and over in your head, is you need to redefine motivation as discipline. As Louis said, motivation peaks and troughs, comes and goes like the fucking wind. Like, motivation is just discipline. It's the byproduct of discipline, because it becomes so habitual that your alarm clock goes off and you just get up out of habit. Nobody that wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, their alarm goes off and they go, oh my God, my alarm has gone off, yay. Like, that's just not what happens. Like, they wake up and they literally roll their eyes, but they get out of bed anyway. And I think that's when I said at the start, stop romanticizing motivation, I think that's what people think motivation is.
Well, that's what social media is. It's like someone walking with a gym bag in the dark and, some text on the screen saying, you got to get up every day and walk through the cold and get to the, lift the weights. And it's like, shut up, mate. I'm freezing me tits off walking to the bloody gym in the morning. Like, it's just not like that. One's like Rocky and, let's go punching.
Balboa.
Yeah, you're just not. It's like, I get out of bed in the morning. I'm not allowed to turn the light on because my wife's to the seat. I've got to try and find my socks and boxes. Sometimes I get odd socks. Sometimes I get downstairs. I try and put my clothes on and have a coffee and do my word.
Pepe shit on my rug.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm trolling the shit. It's all gone. I've dropped the milk on the floor. It's, that's life.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be motivated like, you're hopping down the stairs, getting the coffee. Yes, let's go. It's like,
that's not what motivation is.
And that's not realistic.
No.
So it's like, you'll never have that. So if you're looking at people like, you know, the North Star of being motivated, like David Goggins and all these like really driven, they're 1 in a billion. You are a normal person and you've got normal responsibilities. All you need to do is tick some boxes. And then boxes might be 3 days a week. You ain't going to get up at 5 a.m. every day, walk through the cold, get to the gym, only eat. You know, you got idiots on the social media eating off chopping boards.
What do you mean eating off chopping
just
boards?
Like whole foods and meats and eggs off chopping boards and like
Why?
be disciplined. It's just this masculine thing that these men are doing, you know, with them bloody nose clips on and
God, I can't stand straight men. Okay, so redefine motivation as discipline first and foremost, right? Just stop romanticizing discipline. Then shrink the task. Like whatever it is that feels like a mountain for you, break it down. Like start much smaller. Maybe you don't need to do the all or nothing mentality of like waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. Like maybe it is something as small as just keeping your alarm clock at the time it's at, but not snoozing it and waking up and practicing getting out of bed when your alarm clock goes off. Somebody once told me something. If you've set an alarm clock, you've set that as at an intentional time, right? You chose to set your alarm clock up at that time. Get up when your alarm clock goes off because you've set that at an intentional time. Like, don't snooze it. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, I chose that alarm time for a reason because I knew if I get up at that time, I'm going to be able to do everything that I planned to do, right? When I snooze my alarm, it throws my whole fucking morning off, right? So make your Pepe. Make your shrink the task. Make it smaller. Just don't try and be a radically different person overnight because that's just not.
I listened to one more thing on this. I listened to a thing the other day. It's like if you get up at 7 a.m. and you want to get up at 5 a.m., that's going to be a big task to change overnight, yeah? But if you get up 1 minute earlier every day, soon you'll be getting up at 5 a.m. quite easily. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes make the task a little bit more achievable rather than going like, I can't get up before 8 a.m. But tomorrow I'm going to get up at 5. It's like, it's a big ask.
And actually, finally, we could talk about this forever. You've got to make the outcome emotional. Like if I think of Louis, like when Louis really ramped up his latest business, My Body Mentor, it's because he had a baby on the way. So he was like, I can't have a second child on the way with a wife that's not going to be able to work, earning the money that I'm earning now. And so for you, the motivation came because the goal was deeply emotional. It was, I've got to provide for a family. So like, what is it for you? Maybe it is like you really lack self-confidence. Maybe it is you really don't like what you see in the mirror, not because your body's bad, but because it's a manifestation of the lack of good eating and exercise that you've not been doing or something. Like, what is it that is really getting you down? What is it you don't like about your current life? And make your new goal clear as fuck and make it emotional. Because as I said earlier, when you've got that purpose, that drive, because it's important to you, the discipline actually becomes easier because you want the outcome more than you want the comfort of staying in bed.
I got nothing else to say. You said that was final. Okay. I didn't want to go, well, final again.
Anything else you want to share?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, that's motivation. Have we ever talked about motivation on this podcast before?
Maybe.
All right, let's move on. Question 2. I know you two are super confident, but was there ever a time when you weren't? My self-confidence is really holding me back. I can't be like this when I reach my 30s. I need to start working on it now. Any tips? Somebody can be really outgoing, and the life and soul of the party doesn't mean that they have confidence in their career, in their dating life, in many, many other aspects. Like, I think that there's two, different types of confidence. And so you may look at Louis and I and go, God, those two are super confident. But there's been a lot of shit that I've not executed in my life through lack of confidence in my own ability. So before we carry on, just that's something to take into consideration. Don't let somebody else's confidence, or don't be jealous of anyone's confidence, because that's just what you're perceiving. It's not necessarily true.
Yeah, I mean, mine's a little bit different where I am confident. But the reason I am confident is because I've experienced severe failure. So when you've been down to like the rock bottom and you've experienced that kind of failure, you don't have as much to be worried about. You don't have as much to be scared about. So therefore, there is a confidence in just feeling like it's always going to be okay. So I'm more confident trying new things. I'm more confident throwing myself into a new business. I'm more confident doing walking into a room. Yes, I am big. I am, I come across as that guy that's like really confident and big, whatever. But I wasn't always like this. I was very slim when I grew up. Like when I started to get taller, I was very chubby when I was even younger. I was probably one of 2 black kids in the whole town where girls would go towards more, go towards white guys than I would. I'd be the last choice all the time. So there were times where my confidence was knocked, but them insecurities I turned into, okay, I don't want to be essentially like the odd one out. So I need to get myself bigger and sexier and hunkier. There is still times where I don't feel as confident with my body. That is normally down to like comparison, where you're comparing yourself to other people, where it can make you feel a little bit more insecure about who you are. But I think you can build confidence if you list all your insecurities, what makes you not confident, and you have to really put yourself out there. If you're not confident speaking to people, and this is just one of them things, you have to speak to more people, because the things that you're telling yourself right now that might happen if you go and speak to someone are not reality.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's where my confidence comes from, because I know if I stop someone in the street and ask them a question, I know they're not going to look at me and go, "Oh my God, who are you? Why are you asking me this question?" Where your insecurity sometimes can tell you these things. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know when I walk into the gym, not everyone's looking at me because I've been in the gym for that long. I know that I can talk the talk, walk the walk, because there's been times where I haven't, and I've had to put myself in certain situations. So I think you can build confidence.
Is there anything that you don't feel confident about in your life now?
I mean, if you stood me up in front of a room of 100 people and told me to read a page of a book out loud, I wouldn't feel very confident doing that. I would, someone else could just pick that book up and go and read that out loud. Yeah, I would probably study that whole page for weeks before. When my friend asked me to read a thing out for his wedding, I was just losing sleep.
Well, but exactly right. So that just goes to show that there is, everybody has confidence somewhere in something, because the person that's written in may have just heard that and gone, well, I could fucking read out a page of a book easily. Right?
Yeah, I think it's hard, isn't it? Because like when people are talking about confidence, talking about day-to-day things, day-to-day life. Me standing in front of 100 people reading a book isn't really a day-to-day thing. But the reason I have more confidence in day-to-day stuff is because I've put myself out there.
So do you think confidence is a skill rather than a trait?
Yes, but I also think that some people are born with an upper hand. Some people are born and...
But that's same with loads of shit in life, right?
You're born with the upper hand, so therefore you're going to be more confident in certain areas. Like someone sitting there right now with bad genetics from a not very great upbringing could potentially be less confident walking into a jewelry shop, for example, than someone that's rich. Like they're going to always have the upper hand. So yes, you can practice that skill, but you got to understand that there's some areas that you might be.
But you can hone the confidence skill even if we won't reach peak gregariousness.
Well, no, I think it's been proven that you can do that.
Yeah,
I think there's been a lot of people that were not very good looking when they're younger, not very rich, not in shape, and have built that. Inside, there's probably that little bit of insecurity sometimes that you can't really get rid of, but
because that was your story. Your quest for confidence came from the insecurities around rejection from girls, comparison, that kind of stuff, right? So maybe that's not the best message, but what it is I think stepping into who you want to be and being like for example, you started to change your appearance and develop new habits and stuff like that. That then in turn made you disciplined. It made you feel strong. It made you proud of yourself. Like all of these sort of like non-exterior traits, like mental traits that you get that where you proved to yourself that you could do something, and you sort of were proud of yourself. Like I think that builds inner confidence, because I think that outer confidence starts with inner confidence. It starts with knowing who you are and being proud of who you are, right? So you said this already, Louis, but like you said, write down, what did you say? Like write down your insecurities or something like that. What are the beliefs that you have about yourself? I.e., I'm not confident at social engagements or XYZ, right? Write down those really specific things, like
limiting beliefs,
right? But then also write what you are confident at, i.e., I know I'm the fucking best person on my team at work at doing this task, right? So professionally, you're really fucking confident at that thing, right? So you are more confident than you think you are, right? And you are only confident at that thing at work because of the years of work that you've done, to hone and practice that, right? To get to that point. So think of it more of a skill, and then start applying that sort of like skill-based tools on those things that you aren't as confident at. Like, as Louis said already, put yourself in a situation where you might fail. Go up to a group of people and strike a conversation, even if it doesn't go as well as you thought, because that is a huge step in itself. What were you telling me this morning in the gym about the prefrontal cortex?
So with doing things that you don't want to do, that you don't like to do, it grows. So you've always got to put yourself in a position where you're doing things that are uncomfortable, doing things that you don't like, because that will grow. Now, it has been proven that in some people who are more athletic, more in high pressure jobs, athletes, for example, is bigger than it is in some people that are obese, showing that drive, that will can grow.
The prefrontal cortex,
Exactly.
Which is a part of the brain.
Yeah, it can grow with you doing things that, are hard work. But if something is hard to you one day and the next day it's easy, it stops growing. Because
you always have to make yourself uncomfortable to keep growing the prefrontal cortex. That's interesting.
Whether it's the prefrontal cortex or a part of that's in, I don't know the actual scientific, but it's along them lines. Also with confidence is like the reason I have more confidence now. I mean, I did have confidence when I was a young lad, but it's because I had nothing to lose. So there was a confidence in like, what can I lose? What can I lose by going into that shop and going, hey mate, you got a job? But some people would never do that. So I had the confidence to go, hey, you got, and some people go, yeah, put your CV in and that's how you get a job. Because I just didn't have anything to lose. And when you realize going up to someone, if you're like really socially like not confident in social situations, what have you got to lose? It's not going to get any worse by going and speaking to someone. It's not going to get any worse. I promise you now. You speak to 10 people, it will only get better. You've got nothing to lose.
And a lot of it is probably just existing in your own mind. Yeah. Like people will probably welcome you with open arms if you start striking a conversation with them. Like, but 100%. In your head, you're thinking that they're going to literally look you up and down and walk away. So what I picked up from what you just said about you got nothing to lose is that this person that's written in, you have to talk to yourself differently. you've got to like coach yourself. And that's something that I teach sort of my clients all the time, about like changing the conversation that they have with themselves in their brain, like not taking the first thought that comes to your mind as gospel, but having an argument with yourself in your head and coming to a better solution.
Yeah, I think don't have a conversation.
Just do it.
I think don't negotiate with yourself, because if you're negotiating with yourself, you're always going to lose. I think, because you're negotiating with yourself, and that other voice knows how to win. It knows you better than you know yourself. Don't negotiate. Just do it. Just do. And the more you do the actions that you said you weren't going to do, and you realize, okay, I was wrong, and speaking to people is one of the best things I've ever done. But if you negotiate with him, don't go and talk to that person. Oh, but Louis and Connor said it'd be a good thing for me. Yeah, but Louis and Connor don't really know you. Oh, all of a sudden, you'll talk yourself. That person's gone. Think about it later on. That's how you win.
I just thought something. The first time, because I said it earlier, you've got to be confident in the person, like who you want to be rather than who you are from like an exterior POV. My first ever therapy session with my current therapist, who I first started speaking to when I was 28, he said to me, "What kind of man do you want to be?" And I was like, I didn't really know how to answer that question, because it's like, I don't know, like, how do you answer that question? So he told me to go away and think about it. At the time, I was reading a book by Brené Brown called Dare to Lead. And in that book, there was a list of all values, right? Literally like two pages, 4 columns, shitloads of values. So I read through every single one, and I underlined all of the values that I felt were true to me. And then I wrote so I wrote down in my sort of like, therapy book, like each value, and then what I will start doing to exhibit that value. And I read it out to my therapist on the call, and he was like, "That's the best answer someone's ever given me to who you want to be." And that, understanding what my values are, how I want to act, and staying true to those, builds the inner confidence to the point where you don't need to compare your confidence, in inverted commas, levels with anybody else, because you know exactly who you are on the inside. You know exactly where you're confident at, and it may not be the most confident person walking into the room and everyone turns and looks at you because you're laughing and you're flirting with everybody, and that's not the confidence that you're going to have. But maybe you could be confident in your ability to execute. You're confident in your ability to bench press XYZ in the gym. You're confident in your ability to run a marathon when 2 years ago you couldn't run a marathon. Like, change your idea of what confidence looks like, because I think if you focus on that inner confidence, when somebody then strikes up a conversation with you, you ain't going to be shy. You're going to be so confident in who you are that you're going to be able to answer any question about yourself without diverting eye contact and cutting that conversation short. So, yeah. Anything to add, Louis?
I think you covered it.
Okay. Wow, pump and dump. Bump and dump. Have you missed this? I know you've missed this. Okay, ready?
Let's go.
The Traitors.
Pump till you can't pump anymore.
Oh.
Every season it comes on and I'm like, it can't be as good as the last one.
Yeah.
And then a few episodes. But the worst thing about The Traitors is I can't binge it.
Oh, so annoying.
I have to wait.
I know, but
when it's a Friday, you've got to wait till Wednesday, bro.
I know.
What? That's crazy.
But also, that's also what I kind of love about it, because on social media, everyone's popping off. Like the Gaines group chat, every time an episode of The Traitors comes on, it's popping off. Like, that's why they've smashed it, because they didn't just release it all on Netflix for people to binge.
Yeah, I suppose. Didn't the right way.
Yeah, I still convinced me and you should go on that.
Oh,
but the only thing is, like, I told myself I'm not going to go on another game show where I'm going to get booted off in the first 5 minutes again.
Yeah, you'd be that person that gets off the train.
Oh, I would, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Such a people
I'd
pleaser.
be like, I'd be on the other carriage like, what have you done?
2, dry Jan.
I think dump that.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think dump it. I think it's like, what, you want to quit or you don't want to quit? Like, what are you doing dry Jan for?
Right.
What?
Well,
You're just proving that you don't have an issue with alcohol.
Right. I'm a pump because I think that it will either tell somebody, fuck, actually, I don't want to start drinking again. And a lot of people started dry Jan and then never stopped, right? And also when people
don't think they
start
do.
drinking again, they then go, oh, fuck. It reminds them of why they did dry Jan in the first place. And I think that it gets people closer to a place of tapering their alcohol consumption down. But I can see what you mean by dump because
I'm
you
a bit
think
more
it's
like-
putting a plaster over the
Well, I just
problem.
think it's like, if you do drugs, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna do drugs for January. It's like, oh, great. But February back on. Like,
Yeah.
it depends how you look at alcohol. My view on alcohol is a lot different to a lot of people. Like, I don't.
You still drink though?
No, I gave up.
Oh.
Alcohol. Yeah,
When?
January.
Wait,
Wait, not for dry Jan.
Okay, forever.
For dry, gave up alcohol. So there's no like, oh, I'm giving up alcohol for a month. I gave up alcohol.
In January.
No, I gave up this year.
3 cheat meals.
Firstly, dry Jan.
He can't let it go. He can't let it go.
What have you given up?
What?
What have you given up?
Don't you come for me. Don't you
exactly.
fucking come for me, you little shit. 3 cheat meals.
Pump.
Yeah.
I started putting one of these back in, and it works.
Okay.
It works wonders.
What's your boundaries around cheat meals?
I think just don't. I think it has. If you look at it as a meal,
And not a day.
not a day, and not like meal plus X, Y, and Z. Like if you look at a meal, and then what tends to happen is what I've noticed is like, okay, I've got a meal this week that's going to be relaxed. Most of my meals are nice. Don't get me wrong. My diet is very much like, I'm having fajitas tonight. I'm having like teriyaki salmon and rice. I don't eat like just chicken, rice, and broccoli.
Yeah.
Back in a day where your cheat meal would be like a Burger King because you don't have any flavor in your food.
Yeah.
But where I've got a relaxed meal, it's like, this week I was like, oh, I'd love a KFC. But then I was like, oh, do I really want to waste my relaxed meal on a KFC? And then I was like, well, let me go for a roast. And I had a nice roast.
Love.
I didn't have dessert. Just didn't really fancy it. Obviously, I didn't drink. I had a pint of Coke Zero. They gave me a pint.
Love with loads of ice.
No, not a pint.
You don't
no.
like it? Oh, see, I
Half
like
a
that.
pint would have been sweet.
No.
But it's nice. What I realised as well? I enjoyed the roast so
Yeah.
much more because I didn't have a pint of beer first. It filled me up halfway. And then I'm sticking the roast down thinking, oh, God, I'm so full. I swiped that roast like it was nothing. And then today, back on the gains, I feel like it just gives me a little bit of relaxation to go again.
Yeah.
Where before I'd restrict myself too much and binge.
Yeah. Which is really, 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 really common.
Yeah. So then I would be like, so that little bit of just letting the air out once a week is a good way of
The all or nothing mindset again. Like when you try and be fucking perfect, as soon as you have, one slip up, that is it. It's the downfall.
and but just change the word to relaxed meal.
Relaxed meal.
You're on plan.
Yeah.
This is a relaxed meal. Once you reach a goal, you increase how many relaxed meals you're going to have. When it's a cheat, when you are at your goal, if you keep cheating is more of a negative word. So therefore, like, okay, I'm cheating 3 days a week, it's going to feel negative. If you're saying, oh, I'm on plan, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I have a relaxed meal every day, sounds a little bit more like forgiving than like, oh, you cheat Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, well, that's just doesn't sound great.
Okay. 4 meal replacement shakes.
Well, dump. Yeah, for sure.
Why?
Because you should never replace nutrients with something that's artificial. When, protein itself is a supplement, not a replacement. You can make that supplement more enhanced to be more of a meal with banana, oats, almond butter, etc., to be more of a balanced meal. But you don't want to replace food. So therefore, having meal replacements, you're replacing food. Your body needs to chew, needs to eat.
Yeah. Well, my whole thing is like, if it's going to be unsustainable, don't even bother doing it in the first place. I.e., I'm going to cut out carbs, or I'm going to have meal replacement shakes, or I'm going to completely eliminate sugar from my diet, or these kind of like really gargantuan tasks. It's like, well, great. And you may lose weight. And then as soon as you start eating normal food again, you're going to fucking gain the weight back. So just be in it for the long haul, and just, change your lifestyle and eat normal food. Just get into the habit of eating well all the time, and those results are going to come. But if you start doing meal replacement shakes, might lose weight a bit faster because you're eating way less calories, but it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Collagen supplements.
Pump, mate.
Yeah, you have them every day, don't you?
Banging it.
I mean, I got sent some free stuff, and I've been putting it in my shake every day. The thing is with supplements for me, I've never really got into the habit of like religiously taking any supplements, because you don't notice anything different apart from electrolytes. Electrolytes are the only ones that I feel.
Creatine, surely.
Creatine, yes. Creatine and electrolytes, only two that I would say I absolutely notice a difference. Everything else, I'm like, is this going to pay off one day, or am I literally just like pissing my money down the drain?
Normal people that take collagen supplement will be worried about their skin, wear factor 50. You bang a sunbed and, go outside and just let the cold hit your face in the morning without any other cream on it. You're undoing all the good work of the collagen.
So you need to reinforce the collagen with a whole other routine.
Well, you're having the collagen to help skin, etc. So you also need to do other things that will benefit that. Like, using a good face cream is great, but not if you don't wash face. Like, you got.
Where do supplements end though? Because if you go collagen, you go, oh, then you've got to take this as well. Oh, you got to take this. I just don't think there's any end to supplement.
Well, there is an end to supplementation, because in this current state of food and stuff like that, we need another extra stuff. So, one, how deep are your pockets that you can afford all these supplements? Two, how much can you be asked to take tablets? But if I take all my supplements on a daily basis, collagen, hydration, creatine, vitamin D, vitamin C, multivitamin, 3 different things to help my natural testosterone, magnesium. I think that's it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but I feel wonderful.
What about me and Louis? Just we saw something on social media earlier. It's those like crazy clinics / hospitals in Turkey, and you can go and you get like, you're there for, what was he there, like 24 hours? It was just a day, wasn't it? And he had like every single health check like under the sun, and if there was any sort of like things that were sort of critical, like they can treat you or do surgery on you that day or the next day. I was like, sign me up.
Well, what about that? Is it Neco health check that is in the UK now?
I don't know.
I think it's Neco health check. Like 30,000 people waitlist.
Really?
It scans all your skin, all your body, and you do it once a year, and it can tell the difference with a little bit of skin tone, like any cancers, things like that. And
my dad had skin cancer.
Oh, great story, bro. He didn't. Well, he liked a Neco health check. So should we end it there?
It's killed the mood.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Neco health check. You would have done him.
Don't get skin cancer.
Yeah, don't get skin cancer. Real dad?
Real dad. Yeah.
What happened?
He died.
Oh yeah. Even better. Okay. Well, let's.
Well, that was us and games.
You're sweating.
That's made me really hot.
Yeah, you've gone red and sweating.
I've gone red and hot. Yeah. I need
well.
to take my jumper off now. That was Losses and Gains.
Ended on that.
I'll come back, Louis.
Yeah.